Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, UFC Investor. In this video, we're going to be talking about Dana White's Contender Series Week 8. I'm going to be getting right into the picks because this week we have some doctors fighting. Torrence Finney's back. Xavier Franklin, he's going to be fighting today. And yeah, guys, it should be really good sets of fights. Honestly, guys, for once, I think I'm actually kind of agreeing with the odds. And some of them are a little high, but if anything, I do agree with what most people are picking with. But let's get started with the first fight. Okay guys, so for the first fight of the night, we have Christien Savoie versus Jacobe Smith. Jacobe Smith is a wrestler and he has a lot of power in his hands versus Savoie, who I would say is just a striker. A lot of people are picking Smith because he is a D1 wrestler. He has a lot of power in his hands, and just because of that, I would think most people are agreeing with him as a pick because he has more skill sets, obviously. Savoie, I don't want to say he's helpless on the ground, but he doesn't have any submission wins. In fact, he actually lost to Basil Hafez by submission. So I'm pretty sure Jacobe Smith, even though he doesn't have any submission wins, he's gonna have the edge on the ground because he's a wrestler, obviously. Smith has been training at Fortis MMA, like I said. Lots of first round KOs. He doesn't really have to wrestle most of the time because he just gets the KO anyways. As for Savoie, like I said, he's a Canadian champ in another promotion, and he has been taken down by other fighters, so I'm pretty sure Smith should be able to take him down too. Savoie is 32 years old versus Smith, who's 28 years old. I would kind of lean with Jacobe Smith in terms of the age too, but other than that, I'm pretty sure Smith should have the edge, honestly. Smith is undefeated. Savoie is like 10-1-1, 10-2 from what I heard, but I'm gonna be siding with Smith on this one, and I'm gonna be going TKO round 2. I think he could get a sub, maybe, but he's never got one before, so I'm not gonna pick now to get one, for him to get one. I would think if he does get it to the ground and has the control, I would think he'd try to punch Christien Savoie and try to end it that way. So I'm gonna be going Smith on that one. Here's their Instagram. This is Christian's Instagram. Like I said, he's a champ in Canada somewhere. Here's his post, in the Dana White's Contender Series gear, pretty much. Here's the square off between him and Smith. I would think they both I think both of them still have that confidence to them. If anything, Savoie seems like he's a little, like he's smirking a little bit. So that looks good. Doesn't look like he has like any kids or like a wife or something like that. Versus Smith, who obviously he has a kid, first post, and a wife, D1 wrestler, posting his videos on Dana White's Contender Series, and here's them, squaring off pretty much. Savoie is taller, but not that much taller in terms of their their body. Pretty much, they're both pretty fit, pretty cut. Yeah, I'm still gonna be going Smith. I would think he should be able to get the finish. I don't know if he's just gonna suddenly like pull out a submission win, but I would probably side with TKO on this one, along with most people. I would think. I think right now most people are picking Smith by KO. Yep. 88% of people are picking Smith. Savoie, I think he does have a chance, but I would think Savai's only chance is to not KO, or I guess pretty much KO Smith, if not just catch him really good and just finish him. I don't think Savoie has much skill other than his striking, so I think that's why I'm leaning Smith, and I think that's why most people are leaning Smith too. But let's go to the next fight. All right, guys, so this is the second fight of the night. This is Abdellah Er-Ramy versus Torrence Finney. Torrence Finney's back, the Dana White's Contender Series champion. He should have a belt by now. So obviously, I think a lot of people are picking Torrence Finney. I'm picking Torrence Finney. Like I said, he's a great wrestler. He's 9-0 American versus Er-Ramy, who's a striker. I would say a kickboxer, striking based. Er-Ramy doesn't really have any grappling abilities, I would think. He doesn't have any wins by submission, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Er-Ramy has no wins by submission. He hasn't lost by submission either, so I would think maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he does have some grappling defense, but he has been KO'd before. Finney does have KO wins, even though he's a wrestler. He actually has a lot of KO wins, probably like a lot of ground and pound wins. He has that like viral moment, overhand like left KO. Yeah, Torrence Finney, he took the short notice fight, but this is the third time he's fighting in Dana White's Contender Series, so he knows what he's doing. He's probably gonna win, I think. If he wins this one, he's won 3 fights in Dana White's Contender Series, and if he wins, I don't think Dana could deny him. It's just like, what else does he want? Yeah, he doesn't really get the best finishes. If anything, he has gotten a submission win in his first Dana White's Contender Series fight. I think he's gotten a lot of following just because Dana White kind of chewed him out, pretty much. Not chewed him out, but kind of just told him that he'd get beat up in the UFC if he joined then. So maybe now Dana's going to be more convinced if Torrez gets a finish at least. Obviously, he'd probably get signed if he gets a finish. But if he gets a decision win, I don't know if Dana will sign him. I would think so. But he's going to be fighting Abdellah Er-Ramy, who, like I said, is a kickboxer from Spain. But I think he's Muslim. 7-1. He's been KO'd before. 28 years old, so he's pretty young. His last win was in 2023 in March. So his last win was over a year ago. So I'm kind of surprised that even though it wasn't PFL, I'm surprised that the Lions aren't like in the huge favor of Finney. I would think maybe they're not because Finney's taking the fight on short notice. But even then, I just don't know if that over a year layoff for Er-Ramy is a good thing. I would assume so, because from what I've been hearing, like, he's very well touted, or people think he's good. But he's gonna be fighting Torrez Finney. And if Torrez Finney just takes him to the ground, I think he's not going to have any choice but just to stay there and get controlled. I don't think he's going to have like the takedown defense to stay up. At least I don't think so. One notable thing for Er-Ramy is that he is, I don't want to say friends with Ilia Topuria, but he's posted about Ilia before. Ilia follows him on Instagram. I don't know if they're like boys or trained together, but maybe because he's from Spain too. But I did want to mention that he's from like the same management, I think, as Jacqueline Cavalcanti and these two other fighters. You know, Cavalcanti just came off a win, so maybe like something they're doing is a good thing, because Cavalcanti just got a short notice win versus Nora at UFC Paris. So I don't want to say it's a good thing on his side, but it is kind of somewhat notable. But other than that, I don't think there's anything special to him. He does have good striking ability, but versus a decent grappler like Finney, I don't think he's gonna have much of an option but to get taken down. So I'm pretty sure Finney should be able to win this by finish, and I'm gonna be picking Finney by round 2 submission. Abdellah's never been sub before, but I think Finney could do it. He's gotten the sub win before, so I think he could do it a win. I think he could do it again, so I'm picking Finney by round 2 submission. But yeah, let's go to the next card. Okay guys, so for the third fight of the night, we have David Martinez versus Xavier Franklin. Another favorite who's heavily picked. David Martinez is like a 90% pick right now, 83% pick. So a lot of people think David Martinez is going to win. That's because he's like a really good striker. If you guys seen his videos, he has like a lot of KO wins, but he just has a lot of volume as well. He's Mexican, 10-1. His only loss came to like another, I would think, a Mexican guy, Gianni Vasquez. He lost by split decision. I did see that fight, and I just remember it being not a lot of stuff going on. I would think Gianni won because he took David down. So I'm thinking that Xavier would have to probably take Martinez down to win. He does have submission wins, decision wins, KO wins, a lot of wins in round 1. So honestly, I feel like, when I first looked at this, I feel like it should have been like a lot more 50-50, but I can see why Martinez is favored in this one. Franklin is the champion from Peak, so it's like a different promotion. I think he has 2 belts from Peak, so he got one in 2023 and another one in 2024. But he's going to be fighting David Martinez, who's the Combate champion in a different organization. So he also has a belt. And from what I heard, that he tried to get out of that organization just so he can come to the UFC. And I do have to mention that David Martinez's sister, Melissa Martinez, she's also in the UFC. So I think that's going to be like another bonus or another help for him. I would think that he'd probably have more experience with UFC fighters, or just the UFC routine in terms of what he has to do to be a UFC fighter. So I'm going to be picking the doctor, David Martinez. I forgot to mention he is a doctor as well, apparently. I don't know about a doctor, but he's like training or studying in medical school. He's a kickboxer. He moves a lot on his feet. So I think that's like one of the things that Franklin is going to have to deal with Martinez moving so much. Unless he can keep Martinez in one place, I think he's going to be having a hard time catching Martinez, because Martinez does a lot of striking volume as well. He has high volume to the head, to the body, to the legs, and Martinez does seem to have some grappling defense. I don't think it's his preferred method of fighting, but he does seem to have some experience. I don't think he has KO power, but like I said, he has volume, and he's been into rounds 4 before, so he does have the cardio as well. As for Franklin, I think he's just very confident from what I noted. He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Franklin would probably have to mix in the grappling, like I said, to beat David, because other than that, I don't think he's gonna outstrike David like strike for strike. I would think Franklin's gonna have to mix it up and control David, and maybe even just maybe try to get a submission on him. Franklin is a pressure forward fighter, and David Martinez does seem to have a really good knack of I guess countering someone that pressures him like that. I actually saw a video of him like or not KOing. I don't know if he straight up KO'd him or if it was like a volume thing where he just overwhelmed him. He threw like a punch as he was going back and like dropped the guy. So I can see why so many people are picking Martinez. He just seems like he's that good of a striker. But part of me, I don't know if it's like bias, maybe it is. Xavier Franklin, he just seems to be like pretty cool. Like he has like that aura. He seems like a very confident guy. Here's their Instagram. Xavier Franklin, he's pretty short, I would think. You know, he's posting the fight with him and David. He dyes his hair pretty cool too. Purple belt, like I said. Seems just like a regular dude, you know. Like I said, peak champion. So he seems like he holds himself to great things, and he expects a lot from himself. You know, he's pretty out there, I would think. He's met Dana before, so I don't know if Dana did him a favor and got him this fight, or if he earned it fair and square, I should say, I guess. Like I said, he's pretty short. And yeah, I honestly, just before I even get to the end of the video, I do think out of all the underdogs, I think he has a great chance. Like, part of me does want to pick Franklin, because as of now, I'm going all favorites, I think. So I do want to pick Franklin as an underdog, as the first underdog of the night. But I don't know. I just think he just drew a bad card versus David. And I think if he does win, I think it might. I don't want to say it's going to have to be a war, but Franklin's going to have to catch Martinez and just try to finish it. Because if it goes to decision, I think David can win that too. So, like I said, I'm going to be going with Martinez on this one, the doctor, the combate champion. I think he's going to win by decision. I don't think Martinez is going to be able to finish Franklin. I think David Martinez is just going to have to outstrike and control the fight and just point it out. Maybe he gets a KO on Franklin, but I don't think so. Franklin's never been KO'd before. He's undefeated. So I'm going to be going Martinez by decision. But let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys. So for the fourth fight of the night, we have Alberto Montes versus Carlos Calderon. Honestly, guys, I don't want to go too much into this one. Calderon took this fight on short notice. He's 6-2 American versus Montes, who's 9-1. Montes is kind of, I would say, a prospect. People are expecting him to do good. He's 30 years old, from the Goat Shed, Miami, 5'7". He's only lost by KO before, lots of submission wins. But when I see him fight, it doesn't really seem like he tries to take it to the ground. He's actually trying to kickbox most of the time. So I would think he would have that edge over Carlos Calderon, who has a lot of submission wins, and I would say is preferably a grappler. Calderon has been subbed before, and he's lost by decision. So I think that's why Montes is a big favorite at like minus 300 or more right now. I'm going to be going Montes on this one. Notable things to mention for them is that Montes, he should be the better striker. He's more comfortable on the feet, I would think, versus Calderon. He's a good grappler, but he doesn't really seem to want to take it to the ground. He has been KO'd before, and his girlfriend actually trains with Robertson and Aylin Perez, so he seems to be around some UFC people, I would think. Calderon, he took the fight on short notice, like I said. Montes was supposed to fight Robbie Ring. Calderon only has 2 KOs, so I don't think he's going to be that much of a danger on the feet. He has been submitted before, like I said, but he does have good submission defense. He's very flexible. He does like to brawl, which is kind of surprising. He's been hurt before, but he seems to have like a good recovery. Like, he doesn't get finished easily. He scrambles really good. He's really comfortable on his back, which is obviously could be a bad thing in terms of getting controlled. So I would think it's kind of like a bad thing overall that he doesn't mind getting taken down versus another grappler who might just get the points by getting the knockdown in a sense. So like I said, I'm going to be going Montes by decision on this one. I was thinking submission for Montes, but I don't think he's going to sub Calderon. Almost forgot to show you guys their Instagram. This is Montes's Instagram, The Promise MMA. So here's some of his posts. You know, pretty cool post. Lots of submission wins, which is kind of strange because when, the videos I saw him fighting in, he was trying to strike. So it seems like he's trying to be well-rounded, but people just take him down. Maybe he lets the takedowns happen. Maybe that's why too. But yeah, this is his girlfriend, like I said. And this is Carlos's Instagram. So, you know, the usual. I think he's Salvadorian, I think. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he won either. I feel like this one is not a hard one to call, but I have the least expectations for this one. I mean, I would hope there's a finish for this fight, but who knows. But let's go to the next fight. Guys, so for the last fight of the night, we have Diyar Nurgozhay versus Bartosz Szewczyk. Honestly, I'm a little excited for this fight. I feel like it could. I don't want to say. I just don't know what to expect with this fight. Honestly, I feel like these are big guys, light heavyweight. So I feel like there could be a finish instantly. If not, it could be a war. The fight I saw with Diyar, I think he was fighting in Eagle FC for like the belts pretty much that he ended up winning. So that one was like a war. He was beating up the guy, had him all bloody. Right now, Diyar is like a big favorite at 79% of people picking him. And I don't know what the odds are as for like bets, but I'm pretty sure he's a favorite too. I don't think he's a huge favorite. I think Smith is the biggest favorite on the card, but Nurgozhay is a big favorite. 79% of people are picking him. 21% of people are picking Szewczyk. And honestly, if you guys saw last week's card, I can see why, because the last week, the underdog for the big guys, he was like a minus 1,000 before the fight started, and he ended up winning in the first round by submission. So it kind of shows that these underdogs have a really good chance. So I don't want to say that's mostly why people are picking Bartosz, because I do think Bartosz is good. He seems to be a striker. He doesn't really prefer to grapple, I would think. He has lost by submission before. He has lost by decision, but he's won most of his fights by KO or TKO. His last fight was Marcin Lazar's, and he won that belt. I don't know if this was like a championship belt or not, but he won that belt versus Lazar's in February of this year. But he's gonna be fighting Diyar Nurgozhay, who is like a wrestler, striker. I would just say he's well-rounded. He's from Kazakhstan, so the same place that Shavkat's from. He has a lot of first-round finishes. A lot of these first-round finishes are versus kind of cans, I would say. I would say maybe Nurgozhay had a really hard fight the last fight in Eagle FC. And I just think it's kind of cool that Khabib put the belt on him. And I don't want to say because of that he's probably going to be doing good in the UFC, but this kind of shows that he's pretty good. He won the Eagle FC belt, so maybe he could do good in the UFC. But he's going to be fighting Bartosz Szewczyk, who, like I said, is a striker. Not the best grappling, I would think, but he is 6'4". He does have a little bit of size on Diyar. But I don't know. I'm going to be picking Diyar in this one. I feel like, you know, him having the experience in Eagle FC, him being Kazakhstani, you know, just having those genes to win. Here's the video of them getting squared off. Like I said, Szewczyk has the size on him. I think they're both wearing sandals, so I don't think it's going to be... Nurgozhay is a little thicker, I would say, you know, but still, I think it's just around the face. But he does seem athletic. It didn't seem like Diyar was that intimidated, so it doesn't really worry me. Szewczyk does look a little better, though, in terms of his body. But Szewczyk is friends with Szewczyk, so I don't want to say that's a bad thing, but I don't know. Szewczyk lost to Shara Bullet, so who knows. Here's him in the gear. You know, the usual post. Lots of posts with Szewczyk. So it seems like they're boys. So I don't want to say because of that it's like a bad thing he's associated with him, but it's something to think about. Here's Diyar's Instagram. Like I said, Kazakhstani. He's actually training with Henry Hooft, so that's like a really notable thing too. So it's another reason as to why I'm picking him, as to why a lot of other people are picking him. I think right now, he's around 90% too. No, actually, was it 80? Yeah, 78. versus 22% of people picking Szewczyk. But I'm going to be going with what most people are picking on this one too. And I'm going to be picking Nurgozhay by submission round 2. Szewczyk has been subbed before, and Diyar does have submission wins. So I would think he's probably not going to prefer to keep it on the feet versus another striker when he can easily easily, but hopefully take him down and submit him, because he has been submitted before. So I'm going to be going Diyar on this one by submission. And who knows, maybe he's like the new Shavkat of the UFC in terms of, being from Kazakhstan. Okay, guys, so for like the ending segment of the video, I do want to mention the methods of each fighter if they were to win. I think this is how they could win. So I think I said all the picks for my picks. I'm going to be picking Smith by round 2 TKO. But if Savoie were to win, I do think he probably does win by KO. I don't think he gets a submission. And at the very least, and I don't think he gets a decision. I highly doubt that. Very highly doubt him getting a submission. But I think his most likely his route to victory is KO or TKO for Savoie. And for the next fight, Abdellah Er-Ramy, I think his method of victory is by KO, honestly. It's happened before. Even last week, the striker the heavyweight striker got a submission. So you never know. Er-Ramy could get a submission on Finney, but I think most likely his way to victory is through KOing Finney. But I'm going to be picking submission for Finney. I think he should be able to get it to the ground and submit Er-Ramy, but I wouldn't be surprised if Er-Ramy KOs Finney. Next fight, like I said before, I think Xavier Franklin is the one underdog I would pick if I were to pick any of the underdogs. I think Franklin, I feel like Franklin could do it all. I feel like in terms of like possible plans to victory. Because I think if you were to do a plan, I think it would involve controlling Martinez and taking him to the ground and just finishing him there. So I can see Franklin getting a submission, TKO, or a decision if he controls Martinez. But I'm going to be siding Martinez on this one. I think he points it out and stays on his feet and just outstrikes Franklin. But if Franklin were to win by any other method, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like this one, Franklin's method of victory is probably the hardest to call, honestly, out of all the fights. But if I were to pick, I would think submission, if not ground and pound TKO, but I would think submission. As for Alberto Montes, I'm going Montes by decision. Like I said, Carlos Calderon, if he were to win, I would think it'd be by submission out of all things. I do think he can win in other methods too, but out of all, if I were to pick, I would pick Carlos Calderon by submission. And I'm picking Montes by decision. And as for the last fight, like I said, I'm picking Diyar Nurgozhay by submission round 2. But if Szewczyk were to win, I don't think Szewczyk is going to go for a submission. Maybe, but I think he's probably going to either most likely get a KO if he does win, but I would say decision and then submission right after that. But most likely a KO for Szewczyk if he were to win, or a TKO. But I'm picking Nurgozhay by submission round 2. Yeah, guys, that's my pick for the final fight. I hope it's a really good set of fights. If you guys have been watching this whole time, thank you guys so much. I wanted to say again for the subscribers, I have 29 subscribers now. Every video, I feel like I'm getting more and more subscribers. So thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and I forgot to mention, unfortunately, I am gold now. I'm a gold bum. I can't believe it. I have been gold before, so I'm not too worried. I'm not too sad about it. But it's definitely not a good thing. I have to do better in my picks, I think. I feel like I might just go back to picking the way I used to and just kind of going based off my gut, because I don't know, maybe that was getting me good picks, I think, back in the day. And I feel like recently, the more time I put into it, maybe the worse I've been doing, or maybe it's just coincidence. But yeah, I'm gold in Tapology now, number 842 on Tapology. So hopefully I can get back to at least platinum or diamond, because I was in diamond for a while. So I was getting used to being in diamond, honestly. And the goal is still to be in top 100. And the goal for the year, by the end of the year, like I've said in like some videos ago, is to get 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you guys can subscribe, if you guys haven't, if you guys can like the video or comment anything, comment what you guys' picks are, comment what you guys are going to bet on. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in another video.